Hello everyone, it's Maria. Welcome back to my channel. August is the 1 year anniversary of my YouTube channel and my blog, and I thought I would do a question and answer video, just a quick one. I've got lots of questions, but I'm gonna keep the answers short. I asked on For the Love of Pretty Paper, my favorite scrapbooking group on Facebook. I asked people to come up with questions on like what would you like to know about me and my process and stuff. So I've got about 21 questions, but as I said, I'm gonna keep them short, and I've written them down in the same order that they were asked, so I haven't ordered them myself, so I may repeat things, I don't know, we'll see. I may edit this video heavily towards the end, so we'll see. So question number 1, do you scrap chronologically? No, right now. So I started scrapbooking in August 2013, a couple of months after my twins were born, 3 months after my twins were born, and I started scrapbooking in, actually, hang on, these books from Hobbycraft. They are pre-bound, and the paper is quite thick. It's thick enough. It's not bad. I quite like it. I don't use these anymore because I had a couple of near-miss accidents in which the pages were getting a bit ruined from usage, because my kids actually love looking through the layout, so the little fingers are not very delicate, so the pages, and I also had a near-miss accident in which a glass of water spilled very near one of my books, so I decided to then put those books back into 8x8 albums. So I started scrapping chronologically because the books were pre-bound. You couldn't scrap one page today for like June and another page for December the following day, because you had no way of knowing how many pages were going to be in between. So so I started chronologically, and I did it for quite a while. I scrapped chronologically from 2013 till December 2016. In late December, early January this year, I decided to completely give that up, forget about the pre-bound books, and go full 12x12 and also loose pages, so I could scrap whichever day, whichever event that I fancied. And that was so liberating. I felt towards the end of scrapping in 8x8 pre-bound books, I felt very constrained, and I wasn't enjoying the process anymore, because I had to scrapbook this photo, this event, this specific day, and you don't necessarily always want to do that. So so yeah, as I say, it was very liberating going to loose pages in 12x12. Sorry, that was a long answer. I said I was gonna keep it short. Next one. Now, question number 2, how do you store your layouts? So I store them in 12x12 albums. When I finish a layout, I put them in a pizza box that I've got on top of that cupboard there, and then at the end of the month I will do one of my layout look back videos that you can see on my channel, and once I've done that, I put them into the page protectors, and then I store them. Until recently, these were just completely random in the albums, no order whatsoever, and in a way it was lovely flipping through the albums and finding a photo when my kids were like 3 years old, and suddenly seeing a photo of like just the other day, and so there was a bit of a mix and match. However, just last weekend I went through all my 12x12 layouts and ordered them chronologically. I've got now I've got 5 albums. I've got 1 album for my girl, just her, photos of just her, layouts of just her, 1 for my boy, just him, and then I've got 1 for both of them, and family photos, so if it's me and them, or me and and my husband and them, or just family, or them two together. So that's only one album. And then I've got 2 albums of Book of Me. I was quite surprised to realize that I've actually I'm on my 2nd album. But the thing is, one of the albums is what are they called? I'll find out. But yeah, it's one of those albums that they don't have rings. They are like, I can't remember the word, sorry. But yeah, and you can't fit that many pages in those albums. In the Project Lifestyle or American Craft Style albums with the big rings, you can fit quite a few layouts. I think the most I've got in one album is about 25 pages, which is, you put 2 layouts per protector, so that's quite a lot. So that's it. That's how I store my layouts. And I've got a Kallax shelf unit in my living room, and they are there at the moment. So yeah. Number 3, what mixed media tips do you have? My number 1 tip with mixed media is go for it. There's no right or wrong. Try different things and see what you like. With mixed media, what I find is the more you add, the better it will look. Not necessarily always, depends on what kind of look you're going, but I started a page recently, which I got one lovely pattern paper from Paige Evans, and I thought I would do a bit of Missy Whedon, adding some gesso and then some gold paint and stuff like that. Yeah, I hated it, and I left it there sitting on my shelf untouched for quite a few weeks, until one day I said, you know what, let's keep adding things. And I added more paint, more splatters. I did the packaging technique. I used texture paste. I used stamping, lots. And it looks messy but gorgeous. I love it. So that would be my mixed media tip. Give it a go, try it. Don't be afraid to add more and more and more things. It will come together eventually. But yeah, give it a go and try. Number 4, what craft essentials does every crafter need? Now that really depends on each person. For instance, I didn't have a paper trimmer for years. I used to use a ruler and a knife on a glass mat, and that worked for me. But I got tired and I thought I'll get a trimmer. Then same again with the glue. I used double-sided tape for years until I decided I wanted an ATG gun. So essentials: cardstock, pretty paper, basics like scissors, ruler, glue, and a few embellishments. It really depends on each person. Unfortunately, you will, if you're starting out scrapbooking or card making or paper crafting, you will make lots of mistakes. You will buy things that you won't use, or you will buy things that you love how they look when you buy them, but then you can't actually make them work on a layout. I've had that. I bought this collection by Kaisercraft that I bought, that I still look at it and I love it, but the moment I take it out of the packaging and I want to scrap with it, I just can't make it work. So yeah, you will make these mistakes, but that's fine. Just sell them on when you know that you're not going to use them anymore. Number 5, what inspiration do you use for a layout? So my inspiration always starts with the photo. 95% of the time I know which photo I'm going to scrapbook, and then the layout builds up based on that photo. So if it's a black and white photo, I know I can use a very colorful collection, so I may go a bit bold. But if it's a color photo or with a certain feel or certain colors, and then I know which kind of papers I go. So that's the inspiration I use for a layout. If I'm not inspired but I still fancy crafting, I will go to Pinterest and find some inspiration. I sometimes do full scrap lifts where I see a layout and I copy it exactly the same. I've done that maybe 3-4 times where I've copied it exactly the same. It's not ideal, but if it's really, really pretty and it works for you, why not? But I would normally just take certain elements from a layout, say, oh, I love how they've added this cluster here of a butterfly with a circle or whatever, and then you come up with your own version of it. Or you go to a sketch. Sketches are great. I love sketches. When I started scrapbooking in 8x8, I never used them, and it's only since I've been doing 12x12 that I've been using sketches, and they are such a great starting point. So yeah, that's my inspiration. Number 6, what's your favorite craft collection? Difficult question. There are so many lovely there, but I think if I had to, maybe not choose a collection, but if I had to choose a manufacturer right now, it would have to be Coco Vanilla Studio. All the collections I've had from there, they're gorgeous. I love them, and I'm always really excited to see what else they're coming out with. So yeah, my favorite, definitely Coco Vanilla Studio. Question number 7, my top 5 go-to products. Paper, pretty paper, alphas. I love thickers. Thickers are my most favorite thing in the world. I love thickers and alphas. I've got lots of stickers. A bit of embellishment, and not lots. I don't do tons of embellishments unless the layout really calls for embellishments. And glossy accents or like enamel shapes. Yes, those are my 5 too. So cardstock, paper, alphas, a bit of embellishments and enamels. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Number 8, favorite colors to scrap with. Blue is my favorite color. Turquoise, teal, those are my favorite colors. But I do love pastels as well, so I'm not afraid to use pastel colors in a layout for my boy, for instance. But I also love bright colors, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go for blues and turquoise and teals. That's my favorite color to scrap with. Number 9, favorite scrapbooking snack. Disappointing answer, I don't snack whilst I scrapbook. I really get in the zone and I completely forget what I'm doing. If I suddenly get hungry or thirsty, I will go and eat or drink, but I don't bring snacks into the scrapbooking area. Sorry. Number 10, tips I would give to a new scrapbooker. So I think the answer for that would be like the same as for number 4, what craft essential does every crafter need? That what I said in number 4 would be the same for a new scrapbooker. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, give it a go. You will buy things that you're not gonna like eventually, or you will buy things that you're not gonna use, but that's fine. You will make mistakes, and your learning process will be much faster by making mistakes, because then you will realize much sooner what you like, what you don't like. So yeah, my tip to a scrapbooker is don't be afraid to make mistakes, and you will find your own style with time. So yeah, that's it. Number 11, what other hobbies do you have other than scrapbooking? I do card making, not so much as I used to. I used to make cards all the time before, and I used to love it. I don't love it so much anymore, because you send them, you give them away, you never see them again. With scrapbooking, you make something beautiful and you keep it for yourself. Very selfish, I know, but so what? So yeah, I don't make cards as often as I used to before, but I still make sometimes a few. And don't have other hobbies, unless watching TV series on Netflix is a hobby, then that is my hobby. Yeah, no, I downloaded recently from a website called Craftsy. Oh, that's a difficult one. Craftsy. I downloaded a guide for knitting, not knitting. Yeah, I think it was knitting, maybe like a beginner's guide to knitting or something like that. So I may look into it one day, I'm not sure. I have no urge to start another hobby. Question number 13. Do you scrapbook in other formats other than 12x12? I used to, 8x8. And I didn't mind the 8x8 format. I actually really loved it for a while, because I found scrapbooking really big and there was so much space to fill. And I know a lot of people do like tiny photos and little bits of embellishments just in a corner of a page, and then they leave lots of white space. I don't like doing that. I like to pretty much fill my page with paper and things. So I found 8x8 quite good for that because it wasn't so overwhelming. But I don't do 8x8 anymore. I do full 12x12. I'm happy with the 12x12 format now. I don't find it overwhelming anymore. I have tried, I've got one page in A4 which I made during National Scrapbooking Day as a photo of my cat, and that's a format that I like, and I may give it a go. I may make just an A4 album of like really random photos that don't belong in an album in particular. So for instance, because I made that page about my cat, I may do like really, I don't know, favorite drink, or I don't know, although that would go in my book of me. I don't know, I'll think about it. But yeah, A4 or 8, what is it, 8.5 by 11, Americans call it. Number 14, what other format do you want to try but haven't? No, I don't think there's another format, because I just answered about A4, which I will give it a go, but other than that, I don't think there are any other formats. I suppose there's Project Life, but I have no interest in Project Life whatsoever. So no, yeah, that's it. Number 15, do you make sure that you are in the photos and not just behind the camera? I try, yes, I try. I like being in front of the camera. I not always like my photos, but I like I'm not afraid to be in front of the camera, and I like to take lots of selfies with my kids. So if my son is like here in front of me, I will take a selfie. And yeah, there are enough, not hundreds, but there are enough photos of me with them as a family. So yeah, I do make sure that I am in front of the camera as well. Question number 16. What are your favorite topics to scrap? Definitely my children. That was the number one reason I started scrapbooking, and it still continues to be. I love them, but sometimes they drive me crazy, like every other parent will feel about their own children, I suppose. So being able to disconnect from being physically with them and come into my scrapbooking area and look at the photos, suddenly, like, I don't feel mad about them anymore. I don't know if that makes sense. Oh, sorry. But yeah, no, I really love scrapbooking my children. It makes me think about them more lovingly. Not that I don't love them. Oh, that sounds so wrong. Sorry. I don't know if I'm not expressing myself very well. Sorry. But yeah, my kids are my number one scrapbooking subject. Question number 17. Has scrapbooking made you more observant in general? I don't know. I don't think so. What I have noticed is that I do take photos differently now. If I look at photos from before I was scrapbooking and to photos how I take photos now, they are different. I am always very aware of the surroundings of the photos, and I will try different angles and things like that. So maybe not observant, but definitely more aware of surroundings, yes. Number 18, have you found a paper cutter that cuts straight? No. I have a little Cricut one. It was the cheapest one I could find, and I do have to change the blades quite often. And if you're careful, you can cut straight, but you have to be ever so careful. I know there are precision trimmers out there, ones that have actually 2 bars, so the blade case never goes wonky or anything like that, but they're so expensive, and I'm not such a perfectionist that I need to cut like to the millimeter. So if something is a bit off, it does not bother me at all. I'm not such a perfectionist. So no, I haven't found a paper cutter that cuts straight, but it does not bother me either. Question number 19. What's your scrapbooking nemesis and how did you overcome it? Now this is funny because I was looking at my blog the other day to like the very early entries and the about me section, and it made me laugh because it said something like, I know my limitations and I will never be able to do watercoloring. And now I love watercolors. I don't use them. I suppose when I wrote that, I was referring to I used to watch, I still do, not so often, but I watch Christina Werner on YouTube, and she stamps images and then she colors them beautifully with watercolors, and I think I was referring to that. I suppose it's because I've never bought proper watercolor paper to practice, so maybe I should give it a go. I don't say it's my nemesis, but I've never done watercoloring like that, like coloring an image to make it look really pretty in watercolor. I've never done that. I need to try it, I think. Question number 20. Who or what has been your biggest influence in your scrappy journey? Oh, I don't know. I think Shimel, when I took the big step of changing from card making to scrapbooking, Shimel was one of the first scrappers that I found. She has, I think she still has it on her website, she has a video called Why I Scrapbook. Oh my god, that was so inspiring. I love it, and it's really, she's so passionate about it that it really rubbed off on me a bit. Still, there's so many talented people out there today that I can't really pinpoint it to one person only. Christina Werner, I mentioned her earlier, she was my muse for card making, and she also did a few scrapbooking pages back in the day. I don't think she does any scrapbooking anymore, but I used to follow her blog very religiously, and she used to make scrapbooking pages from time to time, so that was a bit of a introduction to scrapbooking for me. But I wouldn't say she was an influence for scrapbooking. Shimel was. And what else? Who else? And all the talented people that I've found on the internet. And yeah, I don't know, it's a difficult one. Yeah, because what you may have liked 3-4 years ago, your style may have evolved, so what was an influence back then may not be an influence anymore. So yeah, it changes. On the last question, question number 21, how has your style changed since you started? Oh, a lot. It has changed so much. Like, I don't know, I suppose because I was scrapping in 8x8, I was used to a very small format, so the photo was always the focus. No, still is, but now I've got much more space to play with. So I didn't used to make lots of simple layouts back then, as everything was very blocky, and now I keep them a bit more flowy. I have quite a lot of pages where it's just white background, white cardstock in the background, and then a bit of bits here and there. It doesn't feel so blocky anymore. I don't know. I will put in a minute, I will put a couple of images of the layouts that I used to make in 8x8 and what I make now, so you can see the difference. The style has changed, I have changed, so yeah. So that's it, guys. I hope this hasn't been too long. 23 minutes and counting, sorry. I will add a few photos at the end, but thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll have another layout for you very soon. Cheers, guys. Bye bye. So here are a few of the layouts that I was referring to earlier with the pre-bound books. Sorry, the quality of the photos are not very good, but these books don't exist like this anymore. The pages have been taken away and put in protectors. So yeah, 8x8 was great, but very small. Now, as you will be able to see in a second, now in 12x12 I've got so much more space, and I love actually having the space. Allows me to be more creative and get a bit more messy and add a bit more. The photo for me is always the main important bit, and it will always be central to the story. But yeah, as you can see, my style has evolved over time, and I hope it keeps evolving to even much better. Thank you again, guys, for watching, and see you very soon. Cheers. Bye.